masculinity, stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, Spartan warriors, Andrew Tate. Men are superior and women are whores who provide no value beyond sex.
Women are fucking stupid.
Bro, I am so sick of how much of this garbage is being sold to men today by so-called masculinity and men's self-improvement channels. But I guess where there is demand, there will be supply. If there is profit to be made, the vultures will be circling. Just look at this post. Apart from sex, women have nothing else to offer a man. The harsh reality of the dating market for men. Any man who thinks about women in this way is no man at all, and is in fact the one who is being fooled. Now, before I continue, hit the like button for me, and if you're feeling froggy, subscribe. I've been spending a little bit more time on X lately, and in my recent perusing, I found that there is so much of this type of men's content out there. And the funniest thing about it to me is that the boys who treat this basura like gospel are equally as wounded and lost and delusional as the women they seek to devalue, but in all reality would fold in half like freshly laundered towels to sleep with if they ever had the opportunity. Now, I assume this content is meant to be motivational for men, but it's really just egomaniacal, misogynistic, narcissistic fecal matter that only the most depraved worms at the bottom of the barrel of human character are gobbling up. All the daddy coin buying hustlers, university graduates who still think guys like Myron Gaines and Andrew Tate and Wes Watson are icons of masculinity that provide a great framework for men to model their behaviors and lives and relationships after.
You fucking idiots!
Now, I'd like to think that less men are falling for the endless masculinity snake oil content online in recent months as the pendulum swings, because at some point I believe you have to step back and see it for what it is. It is a business. It is fueled by consumerism. All of it is to prey and profit off of the massive online audience of young, inexperienced, lonely, wounded men who are unsuccessful in life and with women, which just so happen to be the two things that men are programmed to desire and base the majority of their self-worth on, especially in our younger years, which is why make money, get bitches is the typical modus operandi for young men, and is also the easiest way to exploit them.
If you're making anything under $50,000 a month, you're not a man.
Here's how much it costs to have an attractive girlfriend. Weekly dates, $200 or $800 a month or $10,000 a year. Quarterly vacations, $2,000 or $8,000 a year. Holiday and birthday gifts, $5,000 a year. Miscellaneous, nails, shopping, whatever it may be, about $3,000 a year. All in total, about $26,000 a year.
It should be of no surprise just how many coaches and gurus have become multimillionaires off the backs of the average man, pandering to their insecurities and fears and selling them pipe dreams of boats and hoes. But even worse than the pyramid scheming, course wielding masculinity and success influencers are posts like the example that I shared at the beginning of the video. Men's empowerment can slide into the realm of women's devaluement just as quickly as the opposite is true. And we have to be careful of this because it is so incredibly insidious. It is tempting and it feels good to our egos in the same way like after a breakup we often try to devalue our exes to feel better about ourselves. When we are feeling low, if we can make others feel lower or convince ourselves that we are higher than others, that helps us feel a little bit better. The shortest skyscraper in the city becomes the tallest if it can knock down all the other buildings. And this is what boiling women down to nothing of value beyond sex does. It is a cope for men who need to paint women as the villain in order to continue feeling like the hero, a cope for weak little worms. Worms who then can justify their inability to engage in successful relationships and can keep touching their own little worms every day to online content instead, since women provide no value beyond that and would probably just be after your money anyways, right?
You got me.
Now, I will agree that there are a lot of toxic, parasitic, entitled, self-centered women out there, especially in societies rich with abundance and comfort, women whose expectations are absolutely delusional and would be a grave mistake for a man to choose. Never underestimate the consequences of the women and men that you choose to get into bed with. I thank God that some of my choices were not made permanent by something like childbirth, and that my wounds have been more mental and emotional in nature. Remember, a pretty face will mean nothing when the knife is in your back. And guess what ironically also happens when you devalue women to sex toys? You stop looking at them and choosing them for their character. As a byproduct of thinking of women as less than, you will be far more likely to entertain women who confirm that bias. Don't you think it would be better to empower men to raise their standards and to select and filter for women of noble character? Just a thought. And you know what? Why don't we get biblical with it too, since a lot of these masculinity and stoicism conversations are often tied to traditional values and biblical principles and verses. I see this all the time. So even in the Bible, women are literally created to be man's helpmate, that it is not good for a man to be alone, and that a man must love his wife as Christ loves the church, basically to die to himself for her. So all of this alpha male, lone wolf, women have no value is absolutely godless in nature. Furthermore, have you ever read the description of a woman of noble character from Proverbs 31? It starts off by saying, "A wife of noble character is worth far more than rubies," that her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. But I thought women provided no value. The verse goes on to say, in a nutshell, that she does not wait to be served, but rises early, even before the sunrise, to delegate tasks and to engage in business, that she works hard with her hands, that she is industrious, that she buys vineyards with her own money, that she possesses a range of manual, commercial, administrative, and interpersonal skills, that she opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is respected and brings honor to her husband, that she is family-oriented and places her family first. But don't take my word for it. Go read it for yourself. But it sounds to me like a woman of noble character adds value to a man that extends far beyond sex and is the type of woman who is worth investing in. It's also really popular right now for men to talk about how women just wait around at the finish line and pick the winners, and that you need to be some self-made multi-millionaire James Bond movie character in order for a woman to love you and respect you and stay loyal to you. But that is such a load of garbage. Unless you're trying to DM supermodels on Instagram, this doesn't apply to you. Most women out there are willing to build with a man who has intention and direction. So if you are just driving in circles through life, or your car has no engine and is up on blocks, and you spend more time sitting around complaining and criticizing and comparing and escaping into your coping mechanisms, don't be surprised if women don't want to get into the vehicle of relationship with you, because at that point it is you who is entitled. I always say, don't buy castles for entitled princesses. Build castles with the women humble enough to lay bricks alongside you. And they are out there. So get off the apps, touch some grass, and understand the difference between masculinity and narcissism and misogyny. Preferably before you have daughters of your own who you would teach that they are second-class humans who are useless beyond their reproductive organs. You worms.